This is herpes zoster ophthalmicus, mostly affect the human beings and it affects the nerve fiber. About 15% of the herpes zoster ophthalmicus affect the trigeminal nerve and its branches. Which branches? Ophthalmic division of trigeminal nerves. That is why it is called herpes zoster ophthalmicus. And it also involves the nasociliary nerve which supply the side of the nose and the tip of the nose, and it significantly subsequent develop there is the involvement of the skin as well as eyes. That's that sign is called Hutchinson sign. Here involvement of the eye, and only it is unilateral. One side of the midline of the body part is involved, either left side or right side, and when nasociliary nerves is involved, it also affects the side of the nose and the tip of the nose along with skin eruptions and ocular lesions. When the nose is also involved, that is called Hutchinson sign, and this is the ocular involvement. Then clinical features. Herpes zoster ophthalmicus, it has 3 stages. First one is the acute stage, second one is the chronic stage, and third one is the recurrence stage. So, in acute stages, there are 3 lesions. First one is the skin lesion, second one is the ocular, and third one is the neurological. In skin lesions, there is the chronological order. First is the uniocular maculopapular race is erupt, and it involves the all 3 branches of the ophthalmic nerves. What are the branches of ophthalmic nerves? Frontal, lacrimal and nasociliary. These are 3 branches of ophthalmic nerves, and after eruption of the maculopapular rays, there it becomes pustule, it bursts and forms the crust like ulceration, and after healing there is scarring occur. So, this is the process of from eruption to the formation of scarring. These are the process. Here eruptions, then here pustules are formed, crust formation, and after healing, if involvement is less, then this kind of healing is occur. If more, then blackish hard scarring is present, and it involves only unilateral, either left side or right side. Treatment. Treatment of the herpes zoster ophthalmicus is oral acyclovir is given. It is in the dose of 800 milligram 5 times a day for 7 days, and topical therapy antiviral ointments are given, and it is also given along with the antiviral creams, steroid and antibiotic ointments, and it is applied 3 times a day. Then ocular lesions. Ocular lesions, there are 5 types of ocular lesion. First is the, if conjunctiva is only involved, then mucopurulent conjunctivitis. Episclera is involved, episcleritis, cornea is involved, then keratitis is occur. If iris is involved, then anterior uveitis, and if sclera, deeper layer of the sclera is involved, that is called scleritis, but it is very rare. Episcleritis is common, but scleritis is rare. Then treatment. Treatment is given acyclovir along with steroid ointments and eye drops, and if keratitis and uveitis, cornea is involved, then treatment of the ulcer is given, and cycloplasics and steroids are given if uvea is involved, that is called uveitis. Then neurological complications. Herpes zoster virus also affect the nerves, so there is pulses of the cranial nerves occur, and that is the involvement of the third, fourth and sixth cranial nerves are involved. And optic nerve is which cranial nerve? Which number of? Second, and first one is olfactory, third is third oculomotor, and fourth trigeminal is fifth, fourth is trochlear, and sixth is, and seventh, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. So you better know the name of all the 12 cranial nerves. This is very important. And if optic nerve is involved, this is called optic neuritis. And encephalitis, what is encephalitis? Membrane of the brain is involved, that is called encephalitis. So these are the neurological involvement. Then we come to the chronic stage. That one is the acute stage, then we come to the chronic stage. In chronic stage, skin lesion, ocular lesion and post-herpetic neuralgia. What is post-herpetic neuralgia? Patient is having the intense pain after the complications of the herpes zoster infection, that is called post-herpetic neuralgia. So skin lesion. In this stage, typical punched out scar is present. In acute stage, there is the eruptions of the vesicle and that pustule formation, bursting of the pustules and scarring. So in this stage, we found the punched out scar. This scar is present on the skin and it is above the level of the surface. So, and if in ocular involvement, if conjunctiva is involved, that is called mucus secreting conjunctivitis. Sclera is involved, that is scleritis, and in chronic cases, due to the involvement of sclera, there is the patches of atrophy is present, that is called scleral atrophy, and there is the thinning of sclera, and due to thinning of the sclera, maybe there is the complications of staphyloma, that is the ectatic protrusion of the weaker point of the sclera. Then third one is the keratitis. In herpes simplex keratitis, there is dendritic type of ulcer is present, but here is non-dendritic, here dendritic type of ulcer is not occur. Then chronic anterior uveitis, here signs and symptoms are less as compared to the acute. In acute there is the more severe pain, but in chronic cases you found there may be capes and aqueous flare, there is a pus in the anterior chamber and muddy iris, synechia. These are the signs of chronic anterior uveitis. Then post-herpetic neuralgia, it is severe in chronic cases. Then third one is the recurrent stage. In recurrent stage, after the first infection of the herpes zoster occur, then it appears after 10 years. After 10 years, it also appear in acute lesion, that is called recurrent stage. And patient is precipitate with the withdrawal of the drugs or sudden stoppage of the drugs. If patient is using the topical steroids, if he stops suddenly or reduce the dose, then this condition is recurrent stages occur. And it affects the, if is episclera is affected in this stage, that is called episcleritis, scleritis, keratitis, anterior uveitis, and due to the involvement of the uvea and trabecular meshwork, there is also glaucoma is precipitated. So, here we differentiate the herpes simplex keratitis and herpes zoster ophthalmicus. First differentiating point is the etiology. Etiology is the both is the viral infection. This one is, as name suggests, caused by the herpes simplex virus and herpes zoster virus. Herpes simplex virus is two types, herpes simplex 1 and 2. One is affected the above the waist and 2 is affect the lower body parts. Then laterality, and this herpes simplex virus, it is mostly epitheliotropic, affects the epithelium, and herpes zoster is the neurotropic, affects the nerves. Then laterality, it may be unilateral or bilateral, but it may be always unilateral, either right or left. Then distribution, its distribution is not specific, but it follows the distribution of nerve pathway. Pain, no preceding neuralgia, but it is precedes the eruptions. Pain occur after preceding the eruptions. Then recurrence, recurrence is common, and here recurrence is less common due to the once patient is infected, then patients develop the immunity against that virus. Then corneal sign, corneal signs means involvement of cornea, that is the ulcer, and it may be shape of the ulcer is dendritic, and here there is no specific shape. Sensitivity, here the sensitivity is diminished, but in this case sensitivity is lost. So, there is no sensitivity because nerves are damaged, and the level of cornea affect, it only affects the superficial layer of the cornea, that is the epithelium. It is epitheliotropic, so sensation is diminished, and herpes zoster, it involves the deeper layer stroma, and that is why here disciform keratitis is also occur in this case. Then we come to the fungal keratitis. Fungal keratitis means fungal ulcer caused by fungus. Predisposing factors, there are two kinds of predisposing factor. First is the filamentous fungal, that is called, if affect the filamentous fungi, it is called filamentous fungal keratitis, and if affected by the candida, it is called yeast or candida keratitis. It is caused by the aspergillus and fusarium, and typically precedes by the ocular trauma with the vegetable matter, and this is the peculiar sign of to diagnose the fungal corneal ulcer, vegetable injury, and in this case it is a chronic condition, and it is associated with the chronic corneal disease, and patient is immunocompromised, is more prone to affect fungal ulcer. Then clinical features. In filamentous fungal keratitis, its name suggests grayish white lesions with feathery projections are present in the stroma, and here the epithelium is intact, there is no involvement of the epithelium. So, that is why there is also found the corneal abscess, and candida keratitis, it is dense yellowish white, and it is just like a bacterial keratitis, yellowish color, and it candida keratitis is also associated with the hypopyon. Then sign, this is the filamentous fungal keratitis, this is also here the dense keratitis, and this is the origin, filamentous projections, and affect the deeper layer when its corneal surface is smooth, that is no involvement of the epithelium, and these are the feathery edges just like a feather of the birds. Then this is the candida keratitis. Here disciform, it involves the deeper layers and yellowish white in color like a bacterial keratitis, and it may also be associated with the hypopyon. Here is, this is the hypopyon is present. Hypopyon means, what is hypopyon? When pus is present in the anterior chamber, that is called hypopyon. It may be two types, sterile and unsterile. If secondary bacterial infection is occur, that is unsterile, and if uveitis is associated with the corneal ulcer, that is unsterile. Then treatment. For the treatment of the fungal corneal ulcer, we culture and biopsy is sent, and treatment is given according to the culture and sensitivity report. And topical antifungal drugs are given. It is given in oral form and topical form. What is the antifungal drugs? No, that is written here ketoconazole. Other name of the antifungal drug, fluconazole and एम्फोटेरिसिन बी नहीं सुना? What is that? Broad spectrum antifungal drugs. So antifungal drugs we given the patient according to this sensitivity test. But firstly, as soon as patient come, we start the topical antibiotics and systemic ketoconazole, and after the according to the test we change the medicine. Then we come to the parasitic ulcer. Parasitic ulcer is caused by Acanthamoeba keratitis. It is most common in the people wearing the contact lens, and they are using the normal water to clean the contact lens instead of commercially available liquids. That is why patients who are using contact lens are more prone to the parasitic keratitis. And clinical features is patient is having the blurring of vision, watering, pain, and pain is disproportionate to the extent of ocular involvement. Ocular involvement is less, but pain is very severe. Its early sign. Its early sign is multiple anterior stromal infiltrates are present, and these infiltrates are gradually merge with each other, and they form a ring abscess, that is in a circular matter like this. And in severe cases, sclera is also involved, and patient is having scleritis, anterior uveitis, and hypopyon. Here this is the parasitic, this is the infiltration. It starts any one point, then it gradually affect the around the pupil, and it forms a ring like structure. Here this is called annular keratitis. Here only one part is involved, here more than 50% is involved, here is also 3/4 part is involved, your whole of the cornea involved in the circular manner. This is the central ring. It affects the only some parts, but after some time they all coalesce and form the ring like structure, and when we stain with fluorescent stain, we see the ring. It is caused by Acanthamoeba, and that is why it is called Acanthamoeba keratitis. Then what is the treatment? Treatment is same like other general measures are same, other corneal ulcer. If we stain and send the corneal scrapes for corneal biopsy, and according to the culture and sensitivity test we treat these cases. Then specific acanth amoeba eye drops are also given, and in severe cases. So, these are primary treatment according to the culture and sensitivity treatment, and the general measures are same as other corneal ulcers. And in severe cases, when cornea is damaged and corneal opacity is occur and patient is having difficulties in vision. So, and the treatment is not effective to healing the ulcer, in that cases we give the penetrating keratoplasty. Penetrating keratoplasty means full thickness corneal transplant. Then we come to the primary non-infective corneal ulcer. Yes, yes. Non-infective corneal ulcer, here infection is not occur, but it occur due to the autoimmune disorders or due to the trauma or any kind of exposure or any kind of nutritional deficiency. So, primary non-infective corneal ulcer are divided into 6 groups. First one is the Murray's ulcer. Murray's ulcer is also a autoimmune disease, its etiology is not known, and it affects only the peripheral part of the cornea. Then neurotrophic keratitis, its name suggests it is neurological. Traumatic ulcer, it occurs due to trauma. Exposure keratitis, it occurs when patient is unable to close the eye due to proptosis or leg ophthalmos. And erythematous ulcer, this is occur due to nutritional deficiency. And keratomalacia, there is the, this is also occur in the patient is having severe malnutrition and dry eye. So, Murray's ulcer, it is also called chronic serpiginous ulcer. It is very rare disease, idiopathic disease, and characterized by the progressive circumferential peripheral ulceration only involves the peripheral part of the cornea. Then later on it also affects the central part of the cornea. Then diagnosis depends on the clinical features, and we rule out the other causes of the peripheral corneal ulcer. Then etiology, exact etiology is not known, it may be autoimmune reactions. And clinical features, symptoms are like any other ulcers, like pain, watering, discharge, photophobia, neuralgic pain. But in this case, lacrimation is more marked, and pain is persistent, and this is pain is the neuralgic type, and the patient is having severe photophobia. Then signs on examination of the slit lamp after staining, we find the serpiginous, chronic serpiginous ulcers. It may progress in a serpiginous matter. Then it also affects the limbus as gray infiltrates in the interpalpebral space. Interpalpebral space is first affected, then it grows upwards and downwards, then it involves the all round 360 degree of the cornea. And it spreads centrally as well as circumferentially, means it affects in both directions, central as well as peripherally. And if healing is occur, there is the thin vascularized scar is present, and recurrence is common in this case of the Murray's ulcer. This is the ulcer. This is the interpalpebral zone. First it involves here and here, then it grows upwards and here downwards, then it involves the whole of the cornea in peripherally, and in later stages only peripheral is involved, but ulcer grows inwards to affect the central part and outwards to affect the peripheral part of the cornea. And after healing, we find here thin vascularized scar tissue present in the peripheral part of the cornea. This is Buran's ulcer. Treatment. There is no any single drug of choice for this Buran's ulcer. So, we give the topical steroids, systemic immunosuppressant drugs, then excision of the perilimbal conjunctiva. Perilimbal conjunctiva is excised and stem cells are implanted there, and conjunctival cryotherapy is also given in refractory cases, and a patient is resistant to treatment. Then therapeutic penetrating keratoplasty is also given in the later stage when whole of the cornea is involved and there is the formation of scarring and vascularization. So, diseased cornea is replaced by the donor cornea. Then neurotrophic keratitis. Neurotrophic keratitis, it is also called neuroparalytic keratitis. So, term neuroparalytic keratitis is the misnomer because the keratitis develops as a sequelae of the trigeminal nerve lesion, and lesions are severe, but it do not paralyze the nerves, and here neurotrophic keratitis is the appropriate term as compared to the neuroparalytic terms. So, this is the misnomer. Then clinical pictures. Clinical pictures, pain. Pain is absent or present? Pain is absent in this case of neurotrophic keratitis due to the nerves are damaged. So, there is the loss of corneal sensation. So, patient is not having any kind of pain, and epithelial desquamation, it starts from the center of the cornea, only epithelium is damaged. Then corneal ulceration, if there is secondary bacterial infection occur, then ulcer is occur, and if ulcer is very severe, there is perforation is occur, and after perforation healing with scar tissues, and there is pseudocornea is formed. Then treatment, it is having two kinds of treatment, medical treatment and surgical treatment. Medical treatment, all primary measures of the normal corneal ulcers are given, topical antibiotics are given according to the culture and sensitivity, then lubricants, eye drops are given to smoothen the corneal surface, cycloplegic eye drops are given to relieve the pain and relieve the spasm of the ciliary body and uveitis, and in this case bandage is essential. Bandage and soft contact lens are given. If bandage and soft contact lens are given, then healing process is increased, and if eyes are open, eyelids are rubbing continuously and decrease the healing process. Then some kinds of patients, lid taping is also given at bedtime to avoid the irritation by ocular movements of the lid. Then surgical treatment. Surgical treatment is given torsorrhaphy to increase the healing process of the corneal ulcer, and this is the two types of torsorrhaphy, lateral torsorrhaphy, median torsorrhaphy and paramedian torsorrhaphy. So, in this case neurotrophic keratitis, it occurs due to the neural involvement and patient is having no sensation. So, we increase the healing of the corneal ulcer apply median or paramedian torsorrhaphy. Then traumatic ulcer. Traumatic ulcer is caused by any kind of trauma, and after trauma there is secondary bacterial ulcer. Bacterial ulcer occur due to secondary bacterial infections. Etiology. Etiology, the traumatic agent may be the wound, burn, chemical injury, foreign body, or injury by fingernails. Then local injury may be the eyelashes, that is trichiasis or entropion, or there is entropion and trichiasis. And treatment is treat the cause and treat the ulcer. Then keratitis with leg ophthalmos. What is leg ophthalmos? What is leg ophthalmos? When patient is sleeping at bedtime, he is unable to close the eye properly, and during sleeping condition, lids are not properly closed, that is called leg ophthalmos. It may be facial palsy or proptosis. Proptosis is different thing. Proptosis means protrusion of the whole eyeball due to the space occupying lesion present behind the eyeball. So clinical features is first dryness is occur, and a corneal epithelium is affected. First is affect the lower part of the lower 1/3 of the cornea is affected due to exposure. Due to exposure, and only lower part, lower 1/3 of affected, and this phenomena is called the Bell's phenomena. What is Bell's phenomena? When patient is sleeping, eyeball is roll upwards, and this is called Bell's phenomena. So that is why only lower third part of the cornea is mostly involved. Then second cause is the defective closure of the lids during sleep and absence of blinking reflex. So these are the features present in the patient of. Then treatment of the leg ophthalmos is, what is the reason of leg ophthalmos, that should be treated, and usual treatment of the same, that is the normal bacterial corneal ulcer, and lid taping is also given at bedtime to avoid the exposure of the cornea, and torsorrhaphy is given in resistance cases. Then keratomalacia. Keratomalacia is also called malnutritional ulcer. It affects the mainly malnourished patient and affects a first year of the children. They are mostly children are cases of PEM, protein allergy malnutrition, and having the parasitic infestations in their intestines, and having vitamin A deficiency. First is the severe malnutrition, parasitic infestations, and the third one is the malnutrition with vitamin A deficiency. These kinds of child are more prone to the keratomalacia. In case of the keratomalacia, patient having the night blindness. Night blindness means difficulty in vision during the night hours, but in daytime he is able to see everything. And night blindness is generally bilateral, and when conjunctival involvement is present, there is dryness of the conjunctiva, and Biot's spot is the present. Biot's spot is present just lateral to the limbus. And cornea is, when cornea is involved, there is the dryness of the cornea, lustreless, and there is, due to dryness, there is hazy cornea is occur, and patient is also insensitive, and a yellowish infiltrates starts at the center of the cornea and it increases until the infiltrates are present. Then corneal melting if continues continued, then perforation occur, and if perforation is occur, there is the prolapse of the iris, and if after perforation there is the infection enter the eyeball and it patient is affected panophthalmitis. Panophthalmitis means inflammation of the whole eye. Endophthalmitis means inflammation of the inner layer of the eyeball. And in case of the nutritional blindness, this kind of the ulcer is having less inflammatory reactions, because this is due to the nutrition and there is no inflammatory reactions, and signs occur are due to the dryness. Then treatment. General treatments are given, patient's health is improving, and vitamin A deficiency is controlled given the supplementary vitamin A diet and vaccines and serum, and local treatment are same as any other kind other bacterial corneal ulcer. Then we come to the ectatic condition of the cornea. What is the ectatic condition of the cornea? When there is any abnormality in the shape and position of the cornea, that is called ectatic condition. Ectatic condition, it may be two types, keratectasia and keratoconus. So these are degenerative process. Degenerative process is the non-inflammatory, and keratectasia is the inflammatory process. It occurs after as a sequelae of corneal ulcer, and the second one is the anterior staphyloma. It occurs after perforation of the corneal ulcer. So this is the sequelae of corneal ulcer, and this is the degenerative process, that is called the keratoconus and keratoglobus. What is keratoconus? Corneal shape change into cone like due to the thinning of the center part. Central part of the cornea is protrude forwards, that is just like a cone shape, that is called keratoconus, and a keratoglobus. Here is the stretching of the stroma, and cornea shape change into globular shape, that is called keratoglobus. So first we discuss about the keratectasia. Keratectasia is the protrusion of the corneal scar, and corneal scar is the sequelae of corneal ulcer, and there is without iris incarceration. Keratectasia means there is no iris incarceration, and if pressure is increased and weakness of the due to weakness of the corneal scarring, it protrude forwards, that is called keratectasia, and corneal weakness also due to the interstitial keratitis. So first one is the weakness of the corneal scar after healing of the corneal ulcer, and second is the corneal weakness due to the interstitial keratitis. Interstitial keratitis, it affects the deeper layer of the cornea. So treatment is the keratectasia, there is no medical treatment, only if there is keratectasia occur, we replaced this tissue by donor cornea, that is called keratoplasty, implantations of the cornea. Then anterior staphyloma. Anterior staphyloma is the ectatic conditions of the cornea. In this condition, iris is incarcerated, but in keratectasia there is no iris incarceration, and anterior staphyloma, it may be partial and total. If some part of the cornea perforation is small, then there is the partial anterior staphyloma. If whole of the cornea is involved, then total anterior staphyloma. Then complications, it may be the complications of the secondary glaucoma. Secondary glaucoma, it affects the partial anterior staphyloma. And then total staphyloma, it is caused due to the blockage of the trabecular meshwork. Due to angle is blocked by PAS, means peripheral anterior synechia. This is the complications of corneal ulcer. So, if after perforation there is healing occur and peripheral anterior synechia, it affects the trabecular meshwork and causes secondary glaucoma. So, secondary glaucoma is due to the partial blockage is due to the anterior staphyloma, and if total staphyloma is occur, this is absolute glaucoma. Then treatment is partial type. If partial staphyloma occur, then partial keratoplasty is done, and also trabeculectomy is done to lowering the intraocular pressure. And total, in case of total anterior staphyloma, it is patient is having absolute glaucoma. There is no vision, pain is very severe, and cornea is also opaque. So, in this condition, treatment is given for relief of pain. If patient is having severe pain and painful blind eye, so enucleation is done and artificial eye is implanted, that is prosthesis. And if patient is refused to enucleation, in that cases retrobulbar alcohol is given. And if patient we are not having a retrobulbar injection of alcohol, then cyclodestructive procedure is given, that is called cryotherapy. Then keratoconus. Keratoconus is the congenital non-inflammatory ectatic disorders of the cornea, and due to the weakening of the cornea, it mostly affects the center part of the cornea. It is bilateral and asymmetric disorders. Onset is usually occurs in the mid and late teenagers, and it progresses at the age group of 5 to 15 years of age groups, and it mostly affects the female. Keratoconus is more common in female. Etiology, the exact cause of etiology is not known, but it is due to the weakness of the stroma and the thinning, and there is defect in the structure of collagen fibers. That is why there is stressing of the collagen fibers occur. And then associated condition. Keratoconus is systemic conditions and ocular disorders. Keratoconus is associated with the Down syndrome, that is called Mongolism, Turner syndrome, Marfan syndrome, and atopic conditions. Then ocular conditions, it may be vernal keratoconjunctivitis, that is called spring catarrh, and blue sclera, there is the thinning of the sclera, aniridia, absence of the iris, and ectopia lentis, here lens is present in the another place is their normal position, and retinitis pigmentosa, this is also a hereditary disease. So, these conditions are also associated with keratoconus. Then gross pathological changes. Gross pathological changes, there is the thinning of the center part of the cornea, and it is markedly thin at the center, and the shape, its apex is cone shaped, and sometimes thinning of the cornea occur, and the apex there is becomes opaque opacification of the apex of the keratoconus, that is called acute hydrops. Then brown ring surrounds, brown ring surrounded at the base of the keratoconus, that is called Fleischer ring. And the Kayser-Fleischer ring is present in which disease? Wilson's disease, that is the copper poisoning also. And this ring is known as only Fleischer ring. It is present at the base of the keratoconus. Then clinical features, patient is having the gradual painless progressive diminution of vision, later all due to the irregular astigmatism, and due to the thinning of the cornea, eye is changed into the condition is progressive curvature myopia. Then glare is occur, patient is having the colored halos is also present in this condition, light sensitivity and irritations. And sometimes patient is having acute loss of the vision due to the corneal edema in the center part of the cornea. Then sign, chronological early signs, conical shape of the cornea, patient is having conical shape. On retinoscopy, irregular scissor shapes reflex is present, and Placido's disc, there is irregular rings are present in Placido's disc test. And keratometry, patient is showing the irregular astigmatism, and on slit lamp examination we found the fine vertical folds of the stroma, that is called Oakes stria. This is the keratoconus. Then late stages, in late stages there is the progressive central, paracentral and corneal thinning is occur. Munson sign is present when patient is looking downwards, there is pressure in the lid margin, and epithelial iron deposits, that is called Fleischer rings, and acute hydrops due to the edema and stretching of the Descemet's membrane, and there is leakage of fluids, and stromal epithelializations occur, and that causes severe diminutions of the vision, and patient is also having lacrimation and discomfort due to this acute hydrops. This is called Munson sign. When patient is look downwards, there is pressure in the lid margin here. See, this is called Munson sign. And these are the blue filter after staining, and here is the brown colors rings are present, that is called Fleischer ring. And this is the acute hydrops due to thinning of the center part of the keratoconus, there is edema, perforation and opacity occur. Then diagnosis is made by the clinical examination, and apical protrusion and irregular astigmatism we done by the retinoscopy and keratometries and slit lamp examination. Then according to the keratometry readings, it is divided into 3 groups, mild, moderate and severe. If keratometry reading is less than 48 diopter, it is called mild. If between 48 to 54, it is called moderate, and if more than 54, it is severe. Then diagnosis is made by clinical science and corneal topography and pentachem. This is the pentachem. Treatment, rigid gas permeable contact lens are given to prevent and correct the irregular astigmatism. But in recent case there is no any treatment modalities, but in the cross linking this is also not very useful. In severe cases, intrastromal corneal ring implantation is also given, and lastly if patient is having intolerance of light and there is acute eye drops or corneal opacity or scarring, then penetrating keratoplasty is done. So, and cycloplegic eye drops and hyperosmotic eye drops are also given.